Hi guys, welcome back to another Minimum Wager's Kitchen. I'm Gigi. Well, back to hot cocoa weather, at least where I'm at. So today for the first hot chocolate mix, I'll just be doing a standard hot chocolate, and that's basically a variation of a bunch of online hot chocolates that are very popular. For the second one, I'm going to be making an Italian style creamy hot chocolate. That one is really good and one of my favorites. Also, too, one of my favorites from my childhood. Yum! And let's not forget, for my sugar-free friends and viewers, today I'll also be making a variation of a sugar-free hot chocolate as well. And I'll also include too the batch cost and serving cost at the end of the video. And that's for each recipe. Well guys, I'm ready to get cozy with some hot cocoa, so let's get started with those hot chocolate recipes, shall we? Alright, so for the chocolate, I'm going to go ahead and open this up here. And there you go, that's dark chocolate. And I've went ahead and broken this in half here. And what I'm going to go ahead and do now is just go ahead and start grating this. And this will make a little bit of a mess, so do expect that. Do keep the little, the bigger chunks too. You can keep those. Those will melt. This just makes the process much faster. And when you get to the itty bitty pieces like I am right now, don't grate your fingers off. It hurts. Alright guys, so chocolate is shaved here. So I went ahead and grated that. There are a couple big pieces and that's alright. So the instructions overall online say to go ahead and heat up some milk. So I'm going to go ahead and heat up their suggested 2 cups of milk here. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is put this on about medium. Pour that milk right in. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and warm this up, and it does say to bring it up to a simmer. So in the meantime, while that warms up, it does say to add all the ingredients here together, all the dry ingredients that is, and go ahead and whisk them up. So now that I have a bowl, I'll go ahead and add the cocoa powder, the powdered sugar, the pinch of salt, and the shaved chocolate as well. Alright, so all of our dry ingredients are in the bowl. Now this is supposed to be for 2 servings, and that's the online suggestion. But I'm going to go ahead and revisit that recipe just to make sure, because I think I'm just a little bit off on here. So, alright, so I'm going to go ahead and mix this. And mind you, you're going to have a couple of chunks of chocolate. You might be using the chocolate chips. Still go ahead and mix it in as much as possible, especially with that powdered sugar if there's any chunks with the chocolate. And you know what? I actually want to taste this. Like a little bit. That's not bad. So yeah, essentially now you have cocoa mix. And if you're making this in a batch, putting it away, all you really have to add is the milk, which is really nice. So yeah, pretty convenient. But we'll see how it tastes once the milk warms up. See you in just a second. Alright, so our milk is warming up, and the suggestions are for simmering, typically 160 to 180 is what you're looking for in that thermometer. You'll also too start hearing it a little bit. And we are getting pretty darn close. And just like that, 162. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this down to low. And the reason is because I don't want our milk to burn. So the suggestions say to go ahead and grab 1/2 cup of cocoa mix per person, per serving. So that's going to actually be 1/2 cup of cocoa mix per serving. And because we do have those 2 cups of milk in there, which would be 2 servings, so this one's actually 3. Very close to 3. Alright, cool. So now we know that one is for 3 servings. Alright, so now all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start whisking this. That way we incorporate all the ingredients into the milk and completely melt that in, including to the pieces of chocolate in there. That smells really good. The great thing too, to go ahead and keep it down on low, pretty much like less than a simmer. Everything will melt here in just a few moments. Well, that hot cocoa mix was super easy, so let's go ahead and try it. I'm really excited to see too, like actual real chocolate in the hot chocolate mix. So I bet you this would be amazing with a shot of espresso. Well, first off, let's give this a sniff, because, oh, that smells really good. You do smell the real chocolate in there, that's for sure. All right, well, this is piping hot, but I still want to go ahead and try this, so let's give this a taste and warm up. That's pretty good. That cocoa powder, that powdered sugar, and too, the real chocolate in there really makes a huge difference. And I can tell you this, that grating that chocolate really did help. It made it so much quicker. Super velvety and smooth. Really good. Well, I have 2 more to go here, and I've drank about a quarter of this already, so I'm going to go ahead and put this aside for just a moment here. And let's go ahead and start with the second recipe. That one is going to be my ultimate favorite, and I definitely want you to try that one out when you have a chance. It is the Italian-style creamy hot chocolate, one of my childhood favorites, and obviously for today too, one of those that's going to make you feel all cozy and warm inside. Alright you guys, let's go ahead and get started with the recipe. Did you know I have over 20 videos now? Yay! Now you can binge watch, so make sure you hit like and subscribe, that way you can get all the recipes. Alright you guys, I am all set up for the Italian style creamy hot chocolate. Again, this one is one of my ultimate favorites. It is so good. Calorie wise, maybe a little bit high on the calories for this one. It is definitely a treat. But I do have an alternative after this recipe, so hold on tight and I'll show you that one as well. For the Italian style creamy hot chocolate, today I'm going to be using a 1.6 bar of just dark chocolate. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and grate this like the last one. I'm also going to be using 2 1/4 tablespoons of just regular cocoa powder. The next ingredient is going to be 4 1/2 tablespoons of just regular granulated sugar, 3/4 of heavy whipping cream, and for the last ingredient, that's going to be 1 1/2 cups of regular whole milk. Let's go ahead and warm up our milk and our cream here. So what I'm going to do is, just like last time, I'm going to go ahead and put this on medium, and I'll go ahead and start with my milk first. And while the milk warms, I'm going to go ahead and just grate that chocolate as well. See you in just a few moments. Alright, so I've gone ahead and done as much as I could here with the chocolate. And don't get me wrong, I got a little bit lazy there, and I also just spilled chocolate everywhere, so let's just go ahead and clean that right up. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take the temp here for our milk. This should be about ready here at about, I'm going to say over 160. We want about 160 to 180 degrees. My preference, 160, 165. When you start hitting that 175, 180 threshold, you're going to boil your milk. So now I'm going to go ahead and add that cream. And go ahead and kind of whisk this in. And we want to go ahead and get it back to about 160, 165. This won't take long at all, by the way. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this to about low here. I'm going to go ahead and add the sugar, the cocoa powder. Because I was being a little lazy, I'm just going to go ahead and dunk these pieces of chocolate I did not grate. And now add the chocolate shavings, or grated chocolate that is. Alright, so now that I've got all the ingredients in there, now we whisk. So just like before, we're going to go ahead and keep this on medium. And I do want to see if it melts those big pieces of chocolate, and it is. Wow. Well, this is going to definitely be a luxurious hot chocolate for sure. Give this about 1 to 2 minutes to go ahead and melt all the rest of those dry ingredients, so that way you have a nice mixture. Well, it's been about 2 minutes or so, and this one is done. There you go. So, all right, so now we pour. And that's 1 serving. So this, believe it or not, is 2 servings with that whole chocolate bar. So keep that in mind. So this one really should be pretty darn gourmet and luxurious. First off, the smell. Wow, that's really good. Now, I have not used this particular chocolate for it, so this will be nice to taste it with the 72% dark chocolate that I got for this. Oh, that smells wonderful. Cocoa, creaminess. You definitely smell that sweetness in there too, which is wonderful. And that creaminess as well. Really smells good. Now here's the thing too, online it does say for most recipes that I looked up for this, now this is my own recipe, but a lot of the recipes online were saying to add cornstarch. Now these are United States recipes and I'm not sure why. There are a lot of hot chocolate mixes that do have cornstarch in them because it thickens them, but I think that this method with the actual chocolate itself and what the chocolate has to bind it in, meaning the chocolate bar, including that heavy whipping cream and the whole milk and sugar together, gives it more of a thicker, creamier consistency. The other thing too, and I'll show you towards the end of the video as well, you'll notice that you'll get a skin over it, almost like a pudding skin. I think that was my favorite part because it insulates the hot chocolate, so if you're outside in super cold weather, and you're wanting to enjoy your chocolate for a while, it's almost like it forms its own lid on top. Alright you guys, let's go ahead and give this a taste. Oh, that is heavenly. With this one specifically, and the amount of sugar we put in there, this worked out perfect. That way you get that full nutty cocoa flavor in there as well. And then back of that palate, nice, creamy, yummy sweetness. Overall comfort. I mean, you really don't need whipped cream with this. I definitely would suggest whipped cream with the first one. It's definitely not as rich as this one. This one's like 3 times or like 4 times richer than the last one that I just made. So, and that was the standard hot chocolate. But yeah, even right now, let me see if I can show you. There's like a skin that's forming, and that, that'll keep your hot cocoa hot. Well guys, I think I just drank half of this, so let's go ahead and put round 2 down here. And now move on to the 3rd recipe. Alright you guys, and for the final recipe for our sugar-free friends and viewers, today I'm going to be making a sugar-free, and I guess that would be actually a low sugar version because milk, it does contain quite a bit of sugar. So this would be my version of a low sugar recipe. You can definitely use low-fat milk as well. You can also use 2 other milk substitutes. The best milk substitute so far that's worked for me for this recipe, specifically because it is low sugar, would be with oat milk. And that one, make sure to get the one with low sugar or no sugar. And by the way, if you're having it straight, it's going to be bitter. But because we're going to go ahead and add sweetener substitute today, that'll actually improve the taste quite a bit. So for the ingredients today, that's going to be 2 cups of low-fat or non-fat milk. And I'm going to go ahead and start warming this up now. Pour milk right in. All right, and for the next ingredient, that's going to be 1/4 cup of the unsweetened cocoa powder. Then I'm using today a 1/4 cup of stevia brown sugar substitute. This one's really good. And by the way, not sponsored. Next, I'm going to go ahead and use just a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Today, I'm eyeballing it. Nope. Next, it's just going to be a pinch of salt. And then for the last 2 ingredients, that's going to be 3 tablespoons of just very cold water and 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. We're going to go ahead and try that cornstarch method for this one. Alright, so just like last time, I'm going to go ahead and wait until this gets to about 165 degrees. Alright guys, so I'm about to hit the 160 mark here. Alright, 160. So now we're going to go ahead and add our cornstarch and water mixture, and go ahead and make sure you give this a quick stir because that cornstarch does tend to settle to the bottom. Now, let me go ahead and turn this to low, that way I don't scald or burn my milk here, and add our cornstarch and water mixture. I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick stir. First thing I'm going to go ahead and do is add the salt, the cocoa powder, and the stevia brown sugar substitute. And just like the other 2 hot chocolate mixes, I'm going to go ahead and give this a stir on low for about 2 to 2.5 minutes for this one. The reason a little bit longer, it's because it's got that cornstarch mixture. What I'm trying to do is make it a little bit thicker as if it was whole milk to give it more of that consistency. Alright you guys, so I've got about a minute here for the low sugar hot chocolate option. So I will see you in just 2 moments. Alright you guys, so the low sugar hot chocolate now is ready. And let's go ahead and give this a pour in here. So this one as well is 2 servings. And it's definitely not as thick as the Italian version for the creamy hot chocolate. But let's go ahead and compare it to the standard hot chocolate in here and see if it is the same thickness as that one. Alright you guys, let's go ahead and give this low sugar-free option a taste. First off, that does smell good. I can't smell the sweetness as much though. Not like the last one. That is not bad. Now again, with the sweetness, it's going to be different. There is stevia in there. So if you're not used to stevia, it's going to be a little bit of a different flavor profile. Now with the chocolate though, I do taste a lot of that chocolatey nuttiness, toastiness as well, which really is good. And it's also slightly thickened by the cornstarch as well. I do have to say though, huge difference from using just regular granulated stevia substitute. The brown sugar one really works well, and too with that pinch of salt. For me, it really brings out the flavor of the cocoa a little bit more, and you can notice it much more intensely, especially too because there's low-fat milk in this one. I would totally drink this. You can definitely tell it is lower sugar, that there is some sort of sugar substitute in here. Again, if you're not used to that, you're gonna definitely notice. But if you are watching your sugar and you want a different alternative, this is a great substitute for that. And I definitely would be drinking this whole thing. And you know what? I think I'm gonna add a shot of espresso to this here in just a moment. Well, you guys, how much did these hot chocolate mixes cost to make? Well, let me tell you. Alright, so for the first one, that is the standard hot chocolate. So that one really is just a variation of different recipes online for the hot chocolate mix. For the batch, that came out to $1.87, and to correct myself from earlier at the beginning of the video, that's actually 3 servings, not 2. And per serving, that's 98 cents. Pretty darn good. For the Italian style creamy hot chocolate, that one came out to $2.87 per batch, and that's 2 servings for this one. And for this one, for 1 serving, that was $1.43. This one is definitely my favorite, super gourmet. You should definitely try it out. And finally, for the low sugar option, which is made with low-fat milk and sugar substitute, that one for the batch, that was $1.96, and that is 2 servings. And this one also is 98 cents. So really, comparatively, I really tried doing 2 recipes that would equal out about the same amount, so just like a standard online popular recipe, and then turn it into a sugar-free. Italian creamier option is going to be a little bit more just because I feel like it has a little bit more chocolate in there, and of course the cream as well. Now I want to have a little bit more of this one. So delicious and creamy. So good. And of course, the standard here. This one as well. Gotta say, that one's still my favorite. And the low sugar option. That brown sugar substitute and that pinch of salt do give it just a tiny, tiny little bit of that caramel all the way in the back on the sides of your tongue here. So that way when you're tasting it, you do get that nutty flavor as well with that chocolate. So hey, hooray for low sugar option. Well, you guys, these were all really good. I have to say though, the creamy Italian style hot chocolate, that one is always going to be my favorite for sure. And if you do try the recipe, or any of these, leave me a comment. Well, you guys, I had a great time making all these fun hot chocolates for you, and on a budget, because why not? Especially too, having a gourmet option, a standard option, and of course, a low sugar option, because why not? So I hope you get to try out the recipes, and if you do, like I said, leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Also too, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know when the next video is out. Well, you guys, thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you on the next Minimum Wagers Kitchen. See you next Saturday. Bye. 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 Bye.